everyone, welcome to my channel Anupma Biology Classes. In this video, our topic is environmental factors. This video is taken from Ecology series, chapter 13, part 3 of CBSE class 12th. Now, let's see here the lecture overview. So in this video, we will focus on groups of environmental factors which are here, direct factors and indirect factors. Second, on the basis of nature, environmental factors are grouped into biotic factors and abiotic factors. Then types of abiotic factors, which are climatic factors and edaphic factors. Then atmosphere, that is air. Then characteristics of air, and the last is direct and indirect effect of air on organism. So let's start the topic. And here the question is, what is environmental factors? So an environmental factor or ecological factors or eco factor is any factor that is abiotic or biotic that influences living organism. So some ecologists classify various environmental factors into two major groups, in which the first one is direct factors. So according to the name, these factors have direct influence on the organism, and the examples are temperature, light, humidity, soil nutrients, soil moisture, soil air, etc. And the second is indirect factors. And these factors have indirect influence on organism. These modify other factors, and the examples are soil structure, precipitation, wind, soil organism, etc. Now, on the basis of their nature, ecologists generally classify various environmental factors into two major categories, which are first one, that is biotic factors. These include all the living organisms. And the second is abiotic factor, that is climatic and edaphic factor. So here you can see climatic factors. The variety of living things on the earth is affected and determined by sunlight, temperature, pressure, moisture and air movements, which are all together called climatic factors. Here you can see major climatic factors which influence the crop water needs, like the humidity, temperature, transpiration, sunshine, wind speed, evaporation. Now, the second, that is edaphic factor. So, edaphic factors which relate to structure and composition of soil are called edaphic factors, in which here you can see that as the plant grows on soil, so edaphic factors must be considered as factors of cropping pattern associating soil. The different factors concerned are land elevation, soil type, soil fertility, soil moisture and soil pH. Soil is a very complex medium. A good fertile soil contains mineral matter, which is 40%, organic matter, which is 10%, water, which is 15%, and air, which is 25%. Mineral matter in the soil occurs in the form of particles. Soil can be studied under physical and chemical properties. So, ecological factors is divided into two parts, abiotic and biotic. Abiotic factors like the edaphic and climate, in which in edaphic factors soil type and structure, soil pH and salinity, soil temperature, soil moisture, organic carbon and nitrogen content and heavy metals content. In case of climatic factors, it includes temperature, sunlight, atmospheric pressure, humidity of the air, radiation and ionization of the air, chemical composition of water and atmosphere. And in biotic components, competition, parasitism, predation and symbiosis. So here you can see the schematic representation of the structure of an ecosystem. So ecosystem has two parts, abiotic and biotic. In abiotic, it's divided into two parts, climatic and edaphic. In climatic, rain, light, wind and temperature, while in edaphic, soil, pH, minerals and topography. In case of biotic factor, it divided into three parts: producers or autotrophs, consumers or heterotrophs, and decomposers or saprotrophs. So, here you can see that consumers or heterotrophs is divided into primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, and quaternary consumers. Primary consumers are also known as herbivores. Secondary consumers are also known as primary carnivores. Tertiary consumers are also known as large carnivores, and the quaternary consumers are omnivores. So we will discuss each and every abiotic and biotic factor in detail from the next videos. Now, here, atmosphere. So what is atmosphere or air? Atmosphere is a thick gaseous envelope called air which surrounds both the lithosphere and hydrosphere. Composition of the atmosphere is quite uniform up to a height of 80 kilometers. Higher levels have lighter gases. The atmosphere is denser near the earth and rarer away from the earth. The atmospheric pressure is more near the earth than away from it. The atmosphere has a layer of ozone between altitudes of about 16 to 50 kilometers. The ozone layer acts as a screen that checks the sun's ultraviolet rays from reaching the earth. These rays could be lethal for living organisms. If we talk about the clear air components, so in air, nitrogen present, oxygen present, carbon dioxide and other gases, inert gases, mainly argon and water vapor present. So by volume in percentage, you can see the component or composition of air in which the main component is nitrogen, which is 78 to 79%, oxygen, which is 21%, other components like the carbon dioxide, which is 0.02 to 0.03%, and water vapor, which is variable. Then rare gases like the argon, helium, radon, krypton, xenon and neon less than 1%, and impurities like the carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, oxides of nitrogen, hydrogen sulfides and dust particles which are also variable. So what is air? A mixture of gases and particles each with their own properties are called air. Nitrogen and oxygen make up 99% of the volume of air. Argon gas 0.93% and carbon dioxide 0.039%. Also contains water vapor, ice, dust particles, hydrogen, salt and ozone. So, the major component of the atmosphere are about the same everywhere on earth. Air is mostly nitrogen and oxygen, that is 99%. The remaining 1% in argon, 0.04% is carbon dioxide. Now, after this, characteristics of air. So, what are the characteristics of air? Air is invisible, odorless and tasteless mixture of gases. Air is without a definite shape, volume or density. The density of the air is maximum near the surface of the earth and decreases with height. There is a sufficient movement of air up to a height of about 100 kilometers. This keeps the air well mixed and homogeneous. Temperature of the air decreases with height in the troposphere and the mesosphere, but increases with height in the thermosphere and changes only little with height in the stratosphere. Now, after this, here, what is pre-human pollution? So the air was very perfectly clean even before man started polluting it. Foreign matter such as volcanic ash, bacteria, pollen, spores, salt particles from the ocean, and even cosmic dust is found in the air. These particles are useful. They act as nuclei around which water molecules condense to form tiny water droplets. The latter form clouds and eventually precipitation occurs. The particles decreases the amount of sunlight reaching the earth by reflecting light back into the space. This process decreases the earth's temperature. About 95% of the all earth life on the earth is confined to an atmospheric layer less than 3 kilometers thick. Now, what is water vapor? Beside gases, air has water vapor, dust particles, smoke and salt. The amount of water vapor varies greatly over different areas of the earth. It ranges from 0.01% to about 4% by volume. Natural air is never entirely dry, not even over the deserts. The vertical and horizontal movements of water vapor provides an important mechanism of heat transfer. By absorbing heat from the Earth's surface, water vapor maintains a life-sustaining temperature balance. Now, what is wind? Due to differential solar radiation in different regions of the Earth as well as rotation of the Earth, the air moves and forms wind. Depending upon the velocity of wind, it is also called light air, breeze, gale, storm, and hurricane. So, dust storm and squall are modified forms of the wind. The former carries dust particles while the latter carries rain or snow. It means dust storm carries the dust particles while the squall carries rain or snow. So if we talk about the type of wind, there are five main types of wind. Light air, breeze, gale, storm and hurricane. Now, after this, direct effect of air on organism. So air exerts both direct or mechanical effects and indirect or physiological effects on organism. So if you talk about the direct or mechanical effects of air, wind affects plant populations more than animal populations. It also affects the soil and weather. So if we talk about the plant, wind influences the plants in several ways, like in the picture you can see pollination. Wind disseminates pollen to pollinate the flowers for the seed formation and perpetuation of the species. Pollination by wind is called anemophily. After this, dispersal. Wind also disperses the fruits and seeds. This avoids overcrowding and competition and may carry plants to new areas. After this, transpiration. So the wind increases transpiration. Transpiration means loss of water as vapor. So hot, dry wind kills the young shoots and damages the buds and fruits. Persistent strong wind restricts the height of the plants because due to the excessive transpiration, plant cells do not attain normal hydration and hence size reduction. So, restriction in height is in fact an adaptive feature as smaller trees are less likely to get uprooted by strong wind. Severe windstorms uproot trees or break their branches and flatten small plants. Hence, only the plants with a strong root system and tough stem grow in windstorm prone areas. Now, if you talk about the animals, the wind mainly affects the distribution of small animals. Cysts, spores, eggs, and even adult animals such as winged insects are often carried long distances by the strong air currents. Such animals may suddenly appear in regions where they were previously absent. Sudden windstorms such as hurricanes and tornadoes often kill land animals, particularly birds in large numbers. So, what is the protection? To offset the effect of wind, animals have short habitats that are free from the influence of wind. Forests provide many such habitats. Birds in windy mountain areas often build their nest behind sheltered rocks. A bird found in the windy deserts of the high Tibet constructs a wind screen of stones to protect its nest. Insects inhabiting localities where severe air currents prevail are using winglets to reduce the chances of being blown away. Fin perching mechanism of birds is strong curved claws of sloth and grasping hands and feet of monkey and apes respectively. Here are the effectively resist the dislodgement of these animals from the tree during a strong wind. If we talk about the soil, wind causes land erosion in the dry regions. It also shifts dunes onto the fertile land, spreading the desert. This affects both plant and animal life. Now, in case of weather, air currents affect weather conditions, including rainfall, which influences plant life. Now, indirect effects of air on organism. So what are the indirect effects? First one, that is the desiccation. Movement of air results in increased transpiration from plants as well as evaporation of water from animal body and soil. Desiccation effect increases with the movements of wind because it removes humid air from a place and bring in dry air. In hot and dry conditions, plants undergo wilting. Animals also prefer to stay under shelter in these conditions. Now, dwarfing. Plants of wind swept areas are always under water stress due to desiccation caused by winds. Therefore, their growth is affected and they remain dwarf. Now, salt spray. The phenomena of salt spray occurs near sea coast. The wind blowing from the ocean towards land brings rich salt water droplets from the surface of the sea and deposited them over the surface of plants. These salt sprays result in exosmosis as well as blocking of stomata, thereby affecting the plants. So this is the end of video in which we knew about the abiotic and biotic factors, atmosphere, characteristics of air, and direct and indirect effect of air on organism. So the next here, before this, you can see here the mechanical effects of that produced by high velocity air current in plants. So according to the name, here you can see the mechanical effects in plants. The first one, that is the leaf damage. The mechanical effects are the leaves, branches, tender apex and break. Second is wind throw. According to this, uprooting of the whole plant. Then deformation. According to this, breaking of the leaves and branches of the plants of the windward side in unidirectional winds, while those of the other side remaining intact. Then flag trees. Trees appear as flagpoles under the influence of a strong wind. Then logging, plant bend and flattened over the ground. Then dwarfing, phenomena of limiting plant height by continuous wind current. It occurs above a certain level in the Arctic and Antarctic regions called timberline. And the last is migration, movement of seeds, spores, propagules, etc. of the plant to long distances. So these are the mechanical effects which are produced by the high velocity air current in plants. Now, the next video in ecology series will be on water. So if you understand this video, please like and share it and subscribe to my channel Anupma Biology Classes. If you have any questions, any queries or any suggestions, you can ask in the comment section below. Keep watching, keep learning, keep improving. Thank you for the watching.